Hi everyone, Letty here. Welcome to day 3 of my Christmas in July series. Today I'm going to use that Michael's Hot Buy again. We're going to make some 3x3 cards, but this time using the sentiment strips. So welcome back everyone. For hashtag PPP Christmas in July, I'm making Christmas projects. I previously did these 6x6 cards using some 6x6 cut aparts. I did come back and add one little bitty additional cut apart in the inside of one of the cards to make a pocket. It was Fireside, which is a hot buy from Michael's from several years ago. Off camera, I did go back and make some coordinating 6x6 envelopes. So I usually will just make a 6x6 envelope because I find that it's a lot cheaper if you just hand make it. I do use the envelope punch board for that. I can list the dimensions that I use for those envelopes down below. So today's project, I'm using the sentiment strips that I had found in this paper pad to make some 3x3 cards. So I figured I would cut down these little sections, they're about 2 inches tall. And so I figured I would cut them down to about 2x2s and make some 3x3 cards. So this is the Fireside collection by Recollections. It's a 12x12 hot buy that was from Michael's from a few years ago. And in a previous video, I had mentioned that these would make perfect 3x3s, and that's what I'm doing today. So I'm going to have some paper mats that are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then I also have some gold cardstock mats that are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And this is just to layer everything. I have some white paper that's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. That'll be for the insides of the cards. And then we have our card bases that are 3 by 6 inches folded in half. So what we'll do is we'll take our card base, we're going to layer the first paper mat, the cardstock, and then finish it off with the little 2x2 of the sentiment strips. So those will be our 3x3s. And I will cut down those strips off camera, but first let me show you how to cut the card bases from a 12x12 piece of cardstock. You're basically going to cut at 6 inches on one of the 12-inch sides, so you'll now have 6x12. Cut it down again to 6 inches on the 12-inch, so now you have 4 6x6 sheets. Then just take each 6x6, cut it in half at 3, and now you've got 3x6. So you should end up with 8 of these 3x6 sections from one sheet of 12x12 cardstock. So you can make 8 3x3 cards from one 12x12. So I'm going to go and cut down these sentiments. So I cut them down to about 1 3/4 square or 2 inches square, depending on how wide they were. Those are ready for my cards now. What you'll do is you'll take one of these 3x6s, score it in half, or just fold it in half on the 6-inch side to make your little card base. So I'm just going to quickly do it with my cutting board here, fold it in half, use my bone folder to enforce it. You could also score it at 3 inches on the 6-inch side. So these are our little card bases. Super, super easy, not complicated at all. And so the first step will be to add in our white paper on the inside. Then I'll lay my paper mat, my larger paper mat on the outside. You can do a horizontal or a vertical little card, just like I'm showing you here. Then you'll add your gold cardstock mat, and then I'll finish it off with my little sentiment cut apart that I had cut down to a 2x2, or again 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. You can pop up that little sentiment a little bit with some foam dimensional tape. I am going to keep everything flat today, but you absolutely can do so. So let's assemble one of these together. So you take your white paper, you go ahead and add it onto the inside of your card. And this is just so that way you could use a colored card base and then have a place to write. If you're using white card bases, you can skip that step. You don't need to do it. I'm going to add my larger mat first, then I'm going to add the gold cardstock, and I'm just centering everything right in the middle. And because I cut things a little smaller, every layer a little bit smaller, you actually just stick to the center and you'll have nice little borders all the way around. I'll finish it off with my little sentiment, and that is our 3x3 card from those sentiment strips that come in either the 12x12 paper pads or your 12x12 sheets. So this is hashtag PPP Christmas in July. Here's a full recap. I made 12 3x3 cards from those sentiment strips. Again, for hashtag PPP Christmas in July. This is just my little Christmas series that I'm doing. I'm trying to do a little project every day just to give you some inspiration, some ideas, or just kind of bring some refreshers on projects that you've already done in the past. You might have some of these supplies in your stash, so I welcome you to take something out and start prepping for the holiday season right now in July. This was Fireside. It was a hot buy from Michael's from several years ago. Again, PPP Christmas in July. I have tons of videos. I'm going to link a playlist right here at the end just so you can click on it and get even more inspiration if you want to get even more Christmas crafting ideas. Happy holiday crafting!